So the best fight in boxing has been confirmed and set for July 29th. In this video, I'll be telling you guys why Errol Spence defeats Terence Crawford. So this is a great fight, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's a very tough fight to call, and there's many reasons to pick both fighters to win. However, to start off on why Errol Spence defeats Terence Crawford, the first reason is that he is bigger. He is noticeably bigger, specifically in weight, than Terence Crawford. Crawford's a strong guy, but Errol is the bigger of the two, and he'll be able to use his physicality and use his size in this fight to his benefit. I believe when both fighters are in the ring, when they're both fully hydrated, Errol will probably be about 10-15 pounds heavier, if not more, than Terence Crawford. He's a big guy, especially for the weight class. There's a good chance he'll move up sometime down the line, but the first reason is that he is bigger than Terence Crawford. The second reason Errol Spence defeats Terence Crawford is body work. Errol Spence has very efficient body work. He goes to the body very often and very consistently, and we don't see many fighters go to the body against Terence Crawford. I believe Terence Crawford could probably take a body shot very well. However, it's not an often sight to see one of Terence Crawford's opponents rip to the body and dig to the body. Now, Crawford's a great counterpuncher and will very likely counter Errol Spence if he goes to the body too much. However, Errol Spence has very good body work and very good punch technique when he goes downstairs, and because of that, if he's very calculated with when he goes to the body and when he goes downstairs, it'll heavily benefit him in his favor and definitely helps him in this fight. So the second reason is Errol Spence's body work. The third reason is Errol Spence's chin. Now, I believe that both fighters have many attributes better than the other. I believe both fighters have separate strengths and weaknesses. However, one attribute that I strongly believe favors Spence is chin. I believe Errol Spence has a better chin than Terence Crawford. We've seen him take more shots and better shots than Crawford. Now, he did get rocked against Ugas. He did get rocked earlier in his career against Larte. However, I feel overall, I believe the reason he's been hurt more than Crawford in the pros, arguably, I mean, you could make a case he's been hurt more than Crawford, is because his defense is not as good. However, his chin, I feel, is better. A big reason for that is because he's bigger than Crawford, and because he's bigger, he can take the impact of the shots better. But the reason he has a better chin, I've seen him take a lot more shots than Crawford and take them very well. And if the fight is fought in close range and both fighters are landing big shots, Errol Spence's chin will definitely be an advantage for him. The fourth reason, and arguably the most important reason for Errol Spence, is age. Terence Crawford is 35 years old, about to be 35 years old. By the time this fight happens, I believe he'll be 35 or 36 years old. He is not way younger than Terence Crawford. He's only a couple years younger than Terence Crawford, but these are very important years. This, for the average fighter, the age Crawford is would be their decline and them leaving their prime, while Errol Spence is on the end of his prime when it comes to biological clock. So age is definitely going to be in favor of Errol Spence. I know he hasn't been super active as of late, but his age is definitely going to help him. Him being younger than Terence Crawford is definitely going to be an advantage when both fighters are in the ring. And the final reason is pressure. I believe Errol Spence's pressure is very effective. He has very good pressure. He comes forward, he gets within close range. He throws a lot of punches. He's pretty ruthless and pretty relentless, especially when he has his opponent hurt and when he's trying to really pick his opponent apart and really dissect them. That's when Errol Spence is the most dangerous. So pressure is the fifth reason. So final recap. The 5 reasons Errol Spence defeats Terence Crawford: he's bigger, he has strong body work, he has a good chin, he's younger, and his pressure. This is going to be a really good fight, a really tough fight to call. As I said, I believe this is the best fight in boxing. There's a lot of great fights in the sport, but this is the fight I've wanted to see for a very long time. You can make the case that the winner of this fight is pound for pound number 1. I'll say objectively, Terence Crawford would 100% be pound for pound number 1, while Errol Spence would be arguably pound for pound number 1. The only reason Errol wouldn't guaranteed be pound for pound number 1 is he isn't a multiple weight champion. But this is going to be a really good fight. A great style clash. Both fighters undefeated champions. Both fighters are fighting for undisputed. It's going to be a great matchup. Errol Spence, I will say this, his activity is definitely not in his favor. He has not been super active as of late in his career. He's had, 2 fights in 3 years? Some stat like that. He needs to fight more often, and that could definitely be a detriment in this fight, his ring activity. And it's not like Crawford's been super active either, but he's definitely been more active than Errol Spence. And when you look at Errol Spence's career, he has fought good opposition. That you could argue that's another strength for Errol, is he's fought better opponents than Crawford. Even though I have Crawford higher pound for pound, when it comes to names and opposition, I think Errol Spence has probably fought better opposition than Terence Crawford. Your Dennis Ugas, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter before Crawford fought him. Kell Brook, and even though Kell Brook was coming off that Triple G fight and being super weight trained, that version of Kell Brook is still a phenomenal fighter, and I believe a prime Kell Brook may even be better than Errol Spence. You can make a strong case for, but these are great opponents to be facing. I know it's not pound for pound number one worthy, but these are good opposition, good tests. We've seen Errol Spence have his issues in his career, but I think Terence Crawford, he's shown to have some flaws as well, specifically early on in fights. I think the first 3-4 rounds will heavily benefit Errol Spence. Spence is a relatively quick starter, and Crawford's a very slow starter, so the first 2, 3, maybe even 4 rounds I see going to Errol Spence before Crawford starts to make the fight more competitive. When you look at Crawford's recent opponents, he hasn't fought anyone too great as of late. He fought Kell Brook all the way in 2020, fought Sean Porter in 2021. That was a great performance from Crawford, but we did see him get clipped with some nice shots in that fight. We did see him get buzzed a couple times. Not hurt, but buzzed. Against David Avanesian, he did what he had to do, but it wasn't anything special. So Crawford, he's definitely going to have to give a great performance to win this fight, and Errol Spence is 100% going to have to give a great performance. If either fighter isn't 100%, I see them losing this fight. But Errol Spence's size, he is 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. Crawford is 5'8", so it's not much of a height difference, and Crawford actually has a longer reach. However, Errol Spence is much bigger when it comes to pure size and physicality. So if you're Errol, you want to get the fight within close range, especially because you have a shorter reach. And if you're Bud, you want to keep the fight at a distance, use that jab, and pick him apart. But great fight. I can't wait. Let's hope nothing stops this fight from actually happening. No injuries, nothing gets in the way, because I can't wait for it. When we're analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of both fighters, I think another thing that's going to help Errol Spence a lot is that he's southpaw. I don't think Crawford has fought many southpaws in his career. He switches stances, Crawford, and that's a big advantage he has, but I don't know how well he would do against Errol when it comes to him being a southpaw. I know Crawford's fought southpaws in the past. I don't remember who they were, but he has fought southpaws, and obviously he's done well as he's dominated pretty much everyone he's fought. But Errol's stance, his size, his strength, and I do think Crawford's probably the stronger of the two when it comes to brute strength, but Errol's the bigger of the two when it comes to pure physicality, and Crawford's not going to be able to bully Errol as easily as he's been able to bully his other opponents on the inside and within close quarters. But this is going to be a great fight. I really can't wait for it. I'm glad we're actually getting it in the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's such a good fight. Pound for pound, number one is arguably on the line for this one. Errol's inactivity is going to definitely be a factor, as I mentioned, but he is younger than Crawford, so it's not too big of a deal for him. In Errol's last fight, I think defensively he looked relatively poor. I don't think Errol's defense is as good as Crawford's, even though I do think he has a better chin, but his offense looked phenomenal. He was throwing combinations in abundance. He was going to the body. He was picking Ugas apart. If we get that type of performance from Errol, Crawford's going to have to push very hard to get a win. The two best fighters in boxing, arguably, I wouldn't say they are off of ability, but you could definitely make a case. Definitely the two best in their weight class. Some of the best fighters in the sport. This is what boxing's all about. You guys tell me your thoughts. Who are you guys picking? Do you guys agree with my video? Do you think these are strengths for Errol? If not, what do you think are Errol's strengths? And what do you think Terence Crawford's strengths are for this fight? Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. God bless. I'll see you guys later. Peace.